You're listening to Season 2, Episode 4 of Goal Getting Podcast. Got a goal and you just can't hit it? Well, fill up here and we'll help you get it. Learn the goal achievement success system here on Goal Getting Podcast and put some gas in your goals to power you to the finish line. Learn how to use gas in your goals with your guide, Tony Woodall, as he provides tips, strategies, and inspiration with quote and advice from experts to help you get the goals you set. Let's go, friends. Rev up your engines and let's take off for success. Hey, goal-getters. Welcome back to part 2 of The How. We discussed how I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks in Season 2, Episode 3. I wanted to make sure that we had a good amount of information talking about our goal-setting worksheet and our weekly goal maintenance worksheet. That ran over my time that I wanted to spend in each episode. To be fair to you, I am setting it up as 2 parts, so this is a continuation. I do want to start today's episode with a quote, just like we do every other episode. The quote today is from Albert Schweitzer. To me, good health is more than just exercise and diet. It's really a point of view and a mental attitude you have about yourself. Now, this is a great quote as we discuss the second part of our episode on how I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks. Good health is more than just diet and exercise. To really have good health, we should also be mentally healthy. As Albert Schweitzer says, good health is a point of view. It's really dependent on the mental attitude you have about yourself. There are many physically healthy people that have a mental negativity that keeps them from being in good health. The mind itself can take these mental thoughts and even with you in good physical health, make you sick. There are many people that have nothing physically wrong with them. However, their mental beliefs and attitudes about themselves prevent them from living a healthy life. While you're striving for your new #WorkOnWellness goal, keep your mental attitude sharp and strong. Exercise that brain muscle with good, positive thoughts. Remember what I've said before. Thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. That's one of my favorite thoughts from diet.It. So let's get back to part 2 and finish up the how of how I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks. To lose the weight I wanted to lose in the 16 weeks, I would have to burn 210,350 calories or 13,147 calories per week. That's 1,878 calories per day I would have to burn. So depending on your daily activity, you can naturally burn some calories. If your extent of movement in a given day is limited, you'll have to change that. You've got to make the change to get that out. You have to burn those calories and you have to figure out, what do I have to do to change my activities so that I can lose the weight I need to lose. So just to give you an idea, an hour on the elliptical at level 1 will burn close to calories, according to MyFitnessPal. And according to the Life Fitness elliptical machine that I spend a lot of time on, it's much less from my experience. I would estimate probably 600 calories per hour at that level. Now, if you use that number, you would need to spend just over 3 hours on the elliptical 7 days per week. Now, do you have 3 hours per day to spend on the elliptical every day? I didn't, and I still don't. So I spoke to my doctor, and I insist you do so before you ever start a Work on Wellness program. And I'm using the hashtag Work on Wellness throughout my campaign here, and I want you to use that. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and several other social media campaigns I'll be putting out. Follow the Work on Wellness program, and if you're following this program or doing any type of wellness exercising program, use the hashtag Work on Wellness in yours and we'll follow everybody around. After speaking to my doctor, I realized I had to modify my caloric requirements to be able to accomplish my goal. My doctor put me on a 1,200 calorie per day eating plan. The 1,200 calorie per day was broken into this: 300 calories for breakfast, 400 calories for lunch, 300 calories for dinner, and then I had 200 calories for snacks. 1,200 calories per day for 16 weeks was 134,400 calories. I'd have to burn 143,150 calories during that 16-week period. To make it simple, with a 1,200 calorie per day intake, I had to burn 1,250 calories per day. If I was burning about 600 calories per hour on the elliptical, I would need to spend 2 hours per day on the elliptical 7 days a week. This is what I would have to do in order to lose the weight I wanted to lose in the time frame I set, 40 pounds in 16 weeks. Well, let's get real. Can I really do that? What if I don't have time to spend 2 hours per day, 7 days a week to burn the calories? I need to lose the weight in 16 weeks. Then your goal is unrealistic. It isn't attainable. If there's not a way, if you have to lose that much weight in that 16 weeks, that you can do it without spending that amount of time. So you want to make sure that if you have the ability to set that time on the elliptical or a way to burn the same amount of calories in a shorter time, then your goal is one you should set. But we have to set realistic and attainable goals. That's part of our program. So I decided to do what I needed to do to get the goal I set, lose 40 pounds in 2 weeks. So I went on our goal setting worksheet and my goal maintenance worksheet, and I started tracking it. But I did set the plan to spend 2 hours a day on the elliptical, or at least working out in some form to burn those calories. That's not something I have the ability to do right now. I don't have 2 hours I can spend. So if I set that same goal today, it probably would not be realistic because I just don't have the time to do that. At the time I started this program and this competition, I had the time. I could take those 2 hours in the evening. I don't have that now. Get your goal setting worksheet, take it out, get your pen, pencil, preferably a pen, and let's look at the action steps we need to take to achieve my what. So I started writing down on the worksheet the how. I must eat a healthy 1,200 calories per day. I need to come as close as possible to this, and I needed to ensure that we eat enough calories to be healthy. When I said 1,200 calories, that's not a lot of calories. In most cases, it would not be recommended that you do that, especially somebody my age and a male. That's just very low. I was under doctor supervision. I would go to the doctor periodically during this time to make sure that I was doing okay. If you start this, please make sure you get the recommendations from your doctor to follow the program that you need to follow to make it your own personal program. This 1,200 calories that I was on, I had to make sure that it contained the correct amounts of protein, carbs, and other nutrients, and I wanted to limit the amount of carbohydrates as recommended by my doctor or nutritionist, and you need to do the same. That's a great thing with the MyFitnessPal app. It can track the carbs, the vitamins, minerals, fat, all these things that you need to track. It can do that in that application. Now, I also, number 2 was I must burn more than 1,250 calories per day. If you can burn more, that's better. How can you burn them isn't important. It just means you have to go and burn these calories. Number 3 was I will work out a minimum of 6 days per week. It can be at the gym, or I can burn the calories any other way. I could run outside. I could do CrossFit exercises. I could ride a bike. Whatever you need to do to burn the total calories required for your workouts, for your fun that you're going to be doing. You want to make sure that you do that. Number 4 on my action list was I will stretch each morning. Stretching will burn calories, but it's more important to improve your flexibility before you begin your exercises and during them. It's a good time also for you to do some meditation and visualization exercises during this time. And that's another part of our goal achievement success system, and the 9 steps to successful goal achievement is visualization, and we'll talk more about that later. But think about yourself being where you want to be when you're stretching as you stretch and loosen up those muscles. Number 5 on my action steps was eat fruit or vegetables instead of sweets when hungry. Write down all of the main action steps you need to think about that will be required to achieve your goal, whatever it is. Now, remember, we're talking about a wellness goal here, my work on wellness. This is a program that works no matter what your goal is. So if you're following along and you don't have a wellness goal, if you're super fit, athletic, you can use this for other goals in that same realm, in that same category. But if you're working on another type of goal, you can do the same steps with these same tools and still accomplish those goals. So if you're following along, hopefully you're going to be setting a goal for yourself. Now that you have outlined the main action steps, take out your weekly goal measurement worksheet. This worksheet will be filled out every day. It includes the ability to track a week's worth of successful action steps. So if you look at your worksheet in the date range box, we're going to start entering the date for the starting and ending day of the week. Very simple. Under the major steps section, we enter the top 3 major action steps. For my goal to lose 40 pounds in 16 weeks, I had these major steps. Number 1, eat 1,200 healthy calories per day. Number 2, work out 6 days per week. Number 3, burn 1,250 calories per day. So go ahead and enter your top 3 major steps. Under the action steps column, we start to break down each of the specific action steps we need to do to accomplish this goal. For my goal to lose 40 pounds in 16 weeks, I entered these action steps. Eat a 300 calorie breakfast. Eat a 400 calorie lunch. Eat a 300-calorie dinner and eat 200 calories in snacks. Eat no sweets today. I wanted to make sure I got that in because that's an important part of my action steps. Go to the gym. Use the elliptical. Stretch. Visualize myself at my goal weight and perform body weight exercises. Now, I started not doing these immediately, but as I started getting into better shape, I added these particular options or these actions onto my plan because I needed to start doing some body weight exercises. So I wanted to do sit-ups. I wanted to do push-ups. I wanted to do burpees, things to start working on my muscle tone as I was losing the weight. So you can add those, and I would add each one separately and include the number of reps and the number of exercises that you're going to be doing. Keep track of all of that. If I'm going to be doing sit-ups, how many did I do, how many repetitions, etc. If I'm doing push-ups, burpees, same sort of thing. So I like to do body weight exercises. I also did some weightlifting and things in there, so I added that as well. So anything that you're doing that is an action that will help you achieve your goal, put those on there and keep track of them because we want to make sure that we do the things that we need to do. Now, you're going to enter your specific action steps that you're committed to doing to achieve your goal. After entering the steps, set up the goal for each of the steps in the goal column. If your goal is to go to the gym 5 days per week, you would enter 5 in the goals column. For the use of the elliptical action step, put the amount of calories or amount of hours or calories burned in each goal column. I used hours. My goal was 2 hours on the elliptical. Now, this is just ideas for goals for each step. Set your goals for you for each step to be able to accomplish what you need to do. The measure column is used to define a measurement for achievement. When I was in school to be a loan officer, we used the same worksheet with a Top Gun theme where we wanted to be the top gun of the class. So we used to track mileage for our success. So mileage, thinking that we were in a flight program where we were Top Gun trainees trying to get there. The more miles you flew, the better you were. So we measured everything that we did in a mileage type of a motivation. So we set each action measurable by amount of flight miles, and we would track our mileage each week to get to a total number of goals of miles as a goal for each week. Now, you can use whatever you want to use so that it will help motivate you. I said we did that for mileage because that was part of the program that I was in. Today, I like to use money. I pay myself money, not real money, but I pay myself a financial amount for the successful completion of each action step. This is because I use money also in the mental bank program that we recommend in the Goal Achievement Success System. We use the mental bank program to reward myself for performing these action steps or value events as we call them there. These action steps will be taking over to the mental bank program when you are ready to use it, so you can reuse or use these same action steps as what's called value events. But this is a motivational tool to help you get your motivation and keep your motivation while we work on this goal. Why is that a motivational tool? Because we all like to reward or get rewards for things that we do. We are just wired that way. We like money. So to me, that is a good motivation. So I pay myself a financial amount of money every time I achieve an action step that I'm required to do for that goal that day. Now, there's a column for each day of the week. Now, you're going to want to enter the measure amount for each day that you are tracking. If I said I would do a step 5 times per week, then I would enter the amount into each day that I perform the action step. For example, if I had an action step to go to the gym and my measure was $500 for each completed action, I would enter $500 in each day column that I went to the gym. At the end of the week, you will total each row of the action step and enter that amount into the totals column. The minimum target column is used to set a minimum target value. If my target goal for going to the gym was 5 days per week and my measure value was $500 per action completed, the minimum target would be $2,500. This is the lowest amount I am working to earn each week for each action step. At the bottom of the weekly goal maintenance worksheet is the actual totals for day, week, row. You will be totaling down for each day of the week. Total your values for each day, for each action step, all the way across the week. Do this for each column, including the totals and minimum totals column. At the bottom of the sheet, you will sign and date each week's sheet. You will total the total measures on each sheet and enter it in the total measures space. Enter the week number. If it's week number 3, enter 3. The last thing to enter on the sheet each week is the average weekly measure. This will give you an idea of if you're meeting your goals that you're supposed to be hitting to get the goals you set. So you want to make sure that you do that just to give you an average, and you can track that. So this is how You set up and track your goals using the goal setting and weekly goal measurement worksheets. Now, did I win the competition? No, I didn't actually. I went to the gym right after work. I had a short walk. I spent 2 hours on the elliptical. I built up my endurance and levels as I went on. This allowed me to burn more calories as it got harder. I was burning over 1,450 calories on the elliptical each day after work. That's in addition to my regular calorie burn, which I worked hard to increase that by parking far away from where the train that I caught every day was. So I did more when I got off the train. I got off at the area where I had to walk further to the office than before. So I increased my distances that I had to walk each day, which helps to build that. I would also walk at lunchtime, take a half hour, maybe go walk around the city or something like that. That increases the amount of calories that I'm burning. So I would do a lot of different things to build up an additional calorie burn somewhere in my day. During the time I was using a device to be able to track my steps and things as we were going through this. So that helped me keep track of my steps and some of the activities and the calories that I was burning. So if you have one of those, that will help you to, as you increase your activities during the day, you can also measure those calories. Along with the 1,450 plus calories I was doing on the elliptical, I was adding an additional amount of calories during the day as well. I did not honestly do 7 days a week. To be honest, I only probably worked out 5 or 6 days a week. My goal was 6 days, and that's probably the realistic truth of what I did. It was about 6 days a week. I had to take a day off every now and then for whatever reason. I didn't make it to the gym to do what I needed to do there. What that meant was that I had to work a little harder on those short weeks, and you're going to have to find time to do that too. If you need that extra time, you're going to have to make it up. You're going to have to do something to burn that. Again, if not, it's going to extend your time frame that you need to do to achieve your goals. I was dedicated to complete this. I was way ahead of everyone going into the last week of the competition, and I started doing a little trash talk with my closest competitor. And honestly, she's even more competitive than I am. And her last week, she started going to hot yoga classes each night and reduced her caloric intake down to 300 calories per day. That's not something I would recommend to most people because it's not healthy, and it didn't really help her out a lot, except that she lost a lot more weight, and her percentage of body weight was a lot more than mine. Actually, not much more than mine. It was only a couple hundredths of a pound, but it was still more than me, so I didn't win. I won second place in the competition. However, I did achieve my goal at the end of the 16th week. I weighed in at home that morning at 210 pounds. I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks. I was successful. I would have loved to have won the competition, but I had no control over what the other competitors did. I had to compete with myself. I lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks, and you can too. It takes dedication. It takes drive. It takes passion. It takes wanting the goal. It takes you to understand what you need to do to accomplish that goal, and it takes you doing that. So what is your goal you're going to work on? What are the action steps you are going to have to take to get the goal you set? Once you set the what and the how, then you need to start thinking about the why. We'll talk more about the why in the next episode. This is where we will get into the meat of the motivation for what we do. Thank you for listening. This is your host, Tony Woodall. I am excited to help you work through the what, the how, and the why, and helping you get the goals you set. Go out today and make it a great day.